Everything that's mentioned in this video so far has references older than the book of Genesis in the Old Testament. There is no reference to the book of Genesis by anyone in any primary sources before the 4th century BCE. And this leads us to the final installment of creation stories that are similar to Hesiod's Theogony, which is the book of Genesis in the Old Testament or Hebrew Bible. Both Theogony and Genesis address the process of creation and the establishment of the world. They present accounts of how the universe came into existence and how order was established. They both begin with an eternal being, either chaos or Elohim, and then heaven and earth are immediately created. The Greek Septuagint, which was produced in Alexandria, Egypt, around 270 BCE, uses Gaia and Aranos for heaven and earth, and in the Greek text, the similarities are staring you in the face. They both begin with darkness, or Nyx, before light, or in the case of Hesiod, Erebus gave birth to ether and day. In both accounts, they move from heaven and earth to darkness and light, and then to the separating two waters, which in the case of the Theogony is the raging sea and Oceanus. They both seem to have double accounts of how this happens. They both end up with the creation of humankind, but in the case of Hesiod's Theogony, the birth of Aphrodite seems to parallel Eve. Instead of Adam's rib being used to create Eve, the genitalia of the castrated Aranos falls into the sea and white foam formed, which Aphrodite was sprang from. Pandora and Eve show obvious parallels too. Pandora's box being opened has parallels to Eve biting the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. In both cases, the woman is the reason for the problems of the world. What's even apparent is that Hesiod even mentions good and evil in this very passage. Whoever marries as fated and gets a good wife, compatible, has a life that is balanced between good and evil, a constant struggle. But if he marries the abusive kind, he lives with pain in his heart all down the line. Prometheus, who creates mortal humans, seems to parallel Adam and Cain in one character, as he is the primordial god who humans descend from, but also, like Cain, gives offerings to Zeus that are rejected. The son of Prometheus, Deucalion, has to build an ark and survive a flood that is levied by Zeus. Both texts present a hierarchy, structure of divine beings. They describe a succession of gods and their relationships. In the case of the Old Testament, the succession of the patriarchs, from Adam to Noah to Abraham to Moses and down, highlighting the order and organization within the divine realm and the earthly realm. The gods are assigned specific roles and dominions over different aspects of the universe in Theogony, just like the patriarchs are in Genesis. Both traditions feature primordial beings who exist before the creation of the world. Chaos is existing before anything in Theogony, while God is depicted as pre-existing before the creation of the world. In Theogony, the gods bring about the birth and organization of the cosmos through their words. Similarly, in Genesis, God creates the world by speaking it into existence with his divine command. Divine creation from the order, from chaos. Both traditions present the idea of the world being brought out of chaos into order. They describe the transformation of formless and void conditions into a structured and organized universe. The process of creation involves the establishment of boundaries and the separation of the elements. They present accounts of how humans were created by divine entities and their relationship with the divine. The Epic of Creation, a Mesopotamian text cited by Berosus the Chaldean in the 3rd century of the BCE. The text itself dates to the 2nd millennium BCE, and this text has 7 tablets, just like the 7 days of creation. In the first tablet, heaven and earth emerge. The second tablet, and the atmosphere and firmament are created, just like the second day of creation in Genesis. It is the 4th tablet where the constellations, the sun, moon, and stars are created, just like day 4 in Genesis. The 5th tablet, birds and sea creatures are created, just like day 5 of Genesis. Lastly, day 6 in Genesis is when humans are created, and in the same way, tablet 6, we have humans created. And the most striking parallel of all, on the 7th tablet, the gods rest, just as in day 7, the one true God rests. Theogony of Dunnu, which dates to the early 2nd millennium BCE. And this text reads, "At the very beginning, Plough married earth, and they decided to establish a family and dominion. We shall break up the virgin soil of the land into clods. In the clods of their virgin soil, they created the sea." Plough is a constellation in the sky that represents the heavens. So, once again, we have heaven and earth getting married, creating the world and separating the seas. And that, my fellow myth travelers, brings us to the end of our captivating journey. Through the tangled web of divine connections, from the depths of chaos to the heights of Mount Olympus, we've unraveled the secrets that bind Hesiod's Theogony with the ancient Near Eastern theogonies. As we close this chapter, let us marvel at the enduring power of these ancient myths. They transcend time and culture, reminding us of our shared human quest for understanding and meaning. In the interwoven tapestry of myths, we find echoes of our collective imagination and the universal questions that have accompanied humanity since time began. The gods may have different names and faces, but their stories connect us across boundaries and generations. To the gods and goddesses who inspire us, to the ancient scribes who preserve these tales, and to you, dear Gnosis seekers, for joining me on this incredible journey. Cheers to the power of myth and the wonders it unveils. Stay tuned for more mythological adventures coming your way. And I'll leave in the comments what you would like me to cover in the next couple of videos. Also, you have just attained true Gnosis.